All right, here we go. What are we doing? Muscle talk. I'm trying to put together like an end of year bodybuilding review, and I invited a bunch of guys. I have not heard back from anybody. I'm trying to like, for some reason, I don't know why, but for some reason, like the month of December, like views are a lot lower than normal. I don't know what it is about December.
It's December, end of the year, dude. Everybody's busy with other shit, or
yeah, and there's no bodybuilding gossip. So I started just doing stuff like I put up a video about the 4 elements of to put size on during your off season and shit like that, because there's really not much, to talk about till on a classic. Yeah, right. So I did an anabolic count. So I'm like, if I could get a bunch of guys on, me, you, and who did I invite?
King.
I invited King. I invited Jose Raymond. I invited Charles Griffin. But I want to do it next week, and it's short notice. So and these guys are not like, these are guys that everybody wants on their podcast. So who knows, so I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. If anything, we'll get a crew. I'll get a crew.
I got your message about the one guy. I do know him. I don't know him.
If you don't know him that good, because I could tell that I could tell that he saw the message, but he didn't answer me. So I'm like, I'm not gonna. So I said, look, I won't talk to you about. All right, we could just fucking say it's no big deal. I invited Nick Trigilli to come on. And he probably won't. I don't know what the legal thing is with YouTube, if he can come on or not. I have no idea.
Oh, I didn't think of that.
Yeah, so I said to him, but I don't know. I have no idea if he can come on another show or if he can't come on another show. I have no idea. So I just said, look, we won't talk about YouTube or Rumble or anything like that. You have my word, which is doing the year in review. I'd like you to come on, because him and I used to go back and forth on. After we had that sparring match,
yeah,
him and I were all good.
Didn't you make a couple of comments after that?
Yeah, oh yeah. He came after me during the Hunter thing, and I waited until he was really handicapped. And you know that phrase, never kick a man while he's down. I waited till he was down. Like, that's the best time to kick a man. I don't know.
No, it's not. It's horrible. It's fucking terrible.
Yeah, and then I just went after him, and I was like, oh, who's yeah. But no, we were cool. No problem or anything like that. We used to do a message back and forth and blah blah blah. And I haven't heard from him, so I just figured, let me throw out. It would be a pretty cool end of year video. But I doubt he will, because I don't know what the legal thing is going on with YouTube. I don't know if he's still trying to fight to get his channel, but I have no idea.
Maybe he just doesn't like you. Maybe
it very could be, and I wouldn't blame him at all.
Right. Remember that last kick? That last shot.
There was a couple. Yeah, there was a couple of videos actually I made of him. It wasn't just one. It was like 3.
Right.
Yeah, it was pretty big.
That's why sometimes you gotta pull back a little bit,
Nah, fuck it. Nah. There's a couple of guys on these bodybuilding channels, podcasts, man, and I go, who the fuck is this guy? I never heard of this guy in my life. And 200,000 views, 300,000. Who done? I'm like, who is this fucking guy? It pops up on my feed. I'm like, I never, heard of these people before. There's a couple of guys like that, but I don't know. We'll see.
Your boy, that we talked about last week,
Sam Sulik. Yeah.
Yeah, I just saw some video somebody sent me today of him making an appearance, and there was like, fucking mob scene waiting to see him. Like,
but I'm trying to wrap my head around what is so appealing about it. I know he's young. I know he's jacked, right? But there's a lot of young, jacked guys. He doesn't have this overwhelming personality. It's not like this. He doesn't have like a Schwarzenegger personality, this magnetic personality, right? He's pretty mellow. And I mean, I had gotten asked the question on Anabolic Academy, what do I think about his diet? And I found a clip of his diet. And again, I don't know if this was just a clip to spread bullshit about him, but or this is just something he did and maybe he learned from now. I don't know how old the clip was, but he was like drinking chocolate milk and eating donuts and having big bowls of cereal for breakfast. And I'm like, this can't be real. I'm saying to myself, this can't be real, you know? And so I'm just trying to figure out what the appeal is about him. You know what I mean?
Well, it's easy. You know, people who see that approach is easy. You know, there's no sacrifice, you know, eating cereal and chocolate and whatever else you're fucking eating. So a kid that wants to believe that because, hey, now I don't have to eat dry chicken or this or that. I can eat, you know, it's easy. You know, you ever hear that expression, you know, like, I went to the doctor who told me I have to change my lifestyle, you know? So what did you do? Well, I found a new doctor, you know? And,
right,
you know,
right.
So you go to one with the least resistance, you know? So,
okay. So
yeah.
for everybody out there, that video that I made of the 4 key elements to gaining size on the off season, just forget about it. From now on, I'm going to tell you to eat whatever you want, donuts, cereal, and
Well,
then
that's the thing. Do people
and you don't even have to work.
That?
You don't even have to work out. Forget, you don't even have to go to the gym and you'll look like Sam Sulek. Don't worry about it. But so now you can subscribe to my channel and I'll be a superstar.
The real people know better, right? Yeah. And the people that want to believe that. But does Sam Sulek eat Lucky Charms or whatever the fuck maybe he might. You know what I mean?
Yeah, he might be.
You best be sure that 95% of the rest of his diet is quality protein. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
or
exactly. You know,
yeah,
and
so people could be swayed into whatever algorithm they want to go through their head. It's like, dude, they watch their phones and
I think it's also
feed they subscribe to is what comes up. So it's just constant reassurance of whatever road they want to believe. You know,
it might be a generational thing too. Like
it is a generational thing.
You know, because the young kids, like the path of least resistance, like
it's the dumber and easier it could possibly look is the route they're gonna take. You know,
when we were young and we looked at the magazines, Flex and Muscular Development and whatever other magazines there were to look at. I mean, that was our social media, right?
That was our Bible, dude. That was what we want. You know, that was
But I looked at that and I didn't say to myself, "Oh, this guy probably eats whatever he wants." I looked at that and I said to myself, "This guy must be in the gym constantly. This guy must not cheat on his diet. This guy must be dedicated." I never looked at it going, "Yeah, he probably." I never looked at it going, "Yeah, he's on steroids." You know, I never did that. You know,
well, the difference is we saw it. And we immediately knew that this requires hard work.
Right.
Right. That's too basic. And that only reaches a certain demographic. You have top 0.1% of guys that are going to achieve that, right?
Yeah. If that, right.
There's no money in that, right? There's no money in that market. The money is in the followers or the wannabes, for lack of a better term, right?
Yeah.
The people that follow these influencers.
Right.
And the money in the following, like we could read something and realize, hey, this guy works hard, and you go and you do it. But what's going to make you go back and read that again, or look on that post again, or follow this guy? Say, today he ate donuts. Yeah, tomorrow he's eating cereal. He's eating Rice Krispies and Krispy Kremes after his workout. Hey, let's go do. You know, it's just, and none of these guys are going to amount to anything. You know, these followers. It's just a way to sell their narrative. You know,
it's okay not to amount to anything in bodybuilding. That's fine. And what it is he's not delivering a message. He's basically just saying, hey, this is what I do, and I'm exceptional at it, and that's really it. And whether it's genetic, I'm just genetically gifted or whatnot, it is what it is. But because, you know, listen, you know, I used to love to play basketball. I'm 5'8" on a good day.
And you're white.
And I'm yeah. So
not looking good.
Yeah. So I still watch the playoffs though, right? But what I'm trying to say is that, like, when I did that video and I said, if you follow these 4 steps, you will be the better bodybuilder for you. Everybody's different. I said, you could follow these 4 steps and you could gain 30 pounds of muscle. Or you could follow them and gain 5 pounds of muscle. Everybody's different. But at least as long as you're doing better, that's all that matters. Right. So it's the basics, the training, the food, the supplements, and the PEDs. It was, and then I broke it down to 4 different parts. Right. And then each part was 10 minutes long, and just gave them the basics, blah, blah, blah. And that's how I broke it up. And then, and then I started doing a little bit of the workout videos and the shorts with the workout videos and stuff like that. But, I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. But I'll tell you one thing. I know we had spoken about, we were going to talk about PEDs today. So I have not, I've been on nothing except TRT, a legit TRT, like 100 milligrams a week for, I would say, I don't know, 12 weeks or something like that. Right after, and then right before Labor Day, like the end of August, it came, right? And we had talked. I remember you told me to lower the dosage. Remember, we looked at my blood work, so I lowered it to 500 milligrams. And all I was doing was 500 milligrams of test and growth, right? So I went back to where, it was obviously came out of my system, and my joints were just killing me, my elbows and my shoulders. I'm like, fuck, man, what's the fucking problem? You know what I mean? So I started taking glucosamine chondroitin, and I got the one from Species. And it helped a little bit. Don't get me wrong. But I'd say about a month ago, I started doing 500 milligrams of test and 400 milligrams of DECA a week. I'd say about maybe a little longer than a month ago, maybe a month ago. Dude, as of this week, the difference in my joints, it's like night and day. It was all of a sudden I could do dips again. I was doing heavy dumbbell presses, and my elbows and my shoulders were not fucking killing me.
How much DECA?
400 milligrams of DECA and 500 milligrams of testosterone.
So you could actually get better benefits while you're doing that. You don't have to change anything in your hormone therapy, but increase your sodium levels.
Okay.
If you increase your sodium levels while you're taking your TRT with a good base amount of adrenaline decanate, which is DECA, your body and joints will retain extra fluid. You'll get better fluidity in the joints, with the ligaments, with the tendons. Okay. It'll help regenerate, heal, and keep them lubricated at a better rate.
Okay. And that was that I wanted to my question. I know a little bit better than the basics, and I know that you could go in deeper. So my first question to you is, I know that DECA helps with joints, a joint pain, so on and so forth. How?
So one of the first basic properties of adrenaline is one of the side effects more. And now I don't know if the drug was actually intended to do this when it was manufactured, when it was made, right? It's a 19 mil testosterone, which still has to convert, but it does increase your testosterone levels, right? But one of the side effects, more or less, good side effects of it, is you get fluid retention. And most of the fluid retention that people were noticing was in the joint and ligament areas. So that's why it helps your body produce more of that fluid that keeps your joints and ligaments moving, breaks up inflammation, and obviously speeds the healing process. But the anabolics itself, they're not intended or targeted to increase or stimulate tendon, joint, or ligament rehabilitation. That all comes from higher collagen levels and just better recovery overall. So more or less, it's more of a side effect of that's what DECA does. And that's why DECA is more of an off-season drug than a pre-contest drug, is because you do get water retention from it. You'll get some cutaneous, which will show your vascularity might fade a little bit, but the good points of DECA are the fluid retention that you get in your joints and ligaments. That's where it's beneficial.
Okay. Now the reverse. I want to know if the reverse is true. When I've taken Winstrol in the past, and I have not taken Winstrol in years, right? My joints actually bother me. Is that because of it's pulling fluid out?
So no, because there's no anabolics that have a diuretic effect. Okay. But you have most DHTs, which winstrol is a DHT, which means it converts to dehydrotestosterone receptor site.
Mm-hmm.
What's good about DHTs is your body converts testosterone into DHT, and that's where it's utilized in your body, right? There's no conversion. So you don't lose any of the effectiveness while you're taking it. It's just a pure DHT. Excuse me. But the main effects of DHT is they call them hardening drugs. That's why people use them primarily closer to competitions, because you don't get a lot of water retention from them. Okay. It does the opposite of DECA, where DECA makes you retain water. The DHTs, they don't push it out, but you don't get much water retention from it.
Okay.
Right. But there are arguments that say that certain DHTs can dry out your ligaments and tendons, which doesn't necessarily mean it'll do the same for the muscle, right? Because it is an anabolic steroid where it preserves muscle, helps your body recover better. But the stronger your muscles get, the weaker your tendons and ligaments can get. So that's why you have to keep them saturated with fluids, with a high collagen level, with certain nutrients like your MSM, chondroitin, and glucosamine, which are beneficial to keep fluid in there. And there's a few other ingredients too I won't talk about because I'm actually in the process of putting a product together.
Good. Okay.
Recovery, but there are some good things out there that do that. But your DHTs are more hardening, less water retention drugs, where DECA is more of a water retention drug.
Okay.
So it's not a direct result, but it could happen.
It's an indirect result. Okay. Well, the last time I had used winstrol was probably the last time I competed in 2014, because I never really.
The problem with winstrol or DECA?
Winstrol.
Yeah. So I mean, winstrol is a great drug. Really good for athletes. Like I said, when you're looking to compete, because you don't get water retention from it. It's a pure DHT. It's in and out of your system really fast. So even if you do get slight water retention from it, it's out of you. It usually has a 12-hour half-life. So it's in and out of you pretty quickly. And it is relatively safe. It's low toxicity, so you don't have to worry about severe side effects from it. You could take it for an extended period of time and reap good benefits, while not putting extra stress on your liver or other vital organs.
Right. Okay. Thank you. That was very informative. Now, in the video I did, I broke down a very, what I refer to as a very healthy off-season steroid cycle to put size on. And I made it clear that I wasn't condoning it. And this was only if you wanted to. And also, this should only be one aspect of putting weight on. This is not the only thing to concentrate on, right? Which a lot of people make that mistake, and they just go, oh, right. But this was my breakdown, right? I said, obviously, it's testosterone, okay? I always preferred like a Cypionate or a Sus or something like that, not propionate. That with either a DECA, EQ, Masteron, something like an anabolic combined, an oral, either D-bol or Anadrol, and then GH on top of it. And then I said that is a very, very healthy steroid cycle for putting size on in the off season. And I said that with proper eating, training hard, so on and so forth, you should see some good results, but everybody's results differ. What do you think about it? Because I wanted your opinion, because that's what I used to do in my off season. Not that I ever got to your level, but when I wanted to compete in the NPC, that's what I used to use in my off season. And that was guided from guys like from Jersey, like, people that were pretty much in bodybuilding for a while that would help me and so on and so forth.
So, I mean, you weren't really too far off with a lot of your suggestions. the order, you might want to switch things up a little bit. And if you just apply, and this is really basic, if you do the groundwork and you look into how anabolics work, you look into how to put together a proper cycle. It's really easy, and it's the same thing I see in the sports supplement side, where you have guys. I see these ingredient panels with 4 different caffeine derivatives and 3 different choline mechanisms for a nootropic effect, and they all attack the same receptor site. It's a fucking waste. For people who don't know any better, right? They buy these things and they're thinking, more is more, and it's not. Right. So when you put together a steroid cycle, you have to. There's 3 key things that should be factored in this. You have 3 steroid receptor sites in your body. Okay, you have your testosterone receptor site, you have your 19-nortestosterone, you have your DHT. So if you want to reap, maximum benefits, you want to take something that's going to bond to all of those receptor sites, right? Okay. The problem is most people don't know what's what and what bonds to what.
Okay.
I mentioned testosterone, D-bol, and EQ. Well, all 3 of them go to the testosterone receptor site. So if you utilize all 3 of them in a cycle, you're wasting. You're not utilizing 2 of them. They're all rushing to the same receptor site.
Okay.
So pick one of them, and you don't have to do as much. You don't have to do tons of D-bol, tons of EQ, and tons of test, because they're all hitting the same thing. So if you do a base amount of testosterone, which I would recommend over any of those 2,
of course,
that covers the testosterone receptor site. Then you have your 19-nortestosterone. Well, there's only a couple things that really bond to that steroid, the 19-nortestosterone receptor site, and that's DECA or NPP, which is now just a faster form of DECA.
Right.
Trenbolone, Tren, or Parabolin, which isn't even made anymore. I'm not sure even if it's available in European countries anymore.
I don't think so. Yeah.
So it's either DECA or Tren, NPP or Tren, and take your pick. I mean, obviously DECA is the safer route, but then you have people complaining about the side effects of DECA causes, lack of, you reduce your sex drive from high doses of DECA, and it could cause limp dick and shit like that. And
yeah.
But any event, even if you did an NPP and you don't experience any type of sexual side effects with that might be a better route to take. I'm not going to push Tren on people because it is a higher toxicity drug.
Right.
The fucking drug works, dude. And
that goes without saying.
Or if you could find good Parabolin,
yeah, good luck with that.
It's around. It is. I've seen it. I've heard of it.
I thought didn't they get them?
But my point is that covers your 19-nortestosterone, and then you have your DHTs, which could be Primobolan, Masterone, Winstrol, Proviron, Anadrol. Anadrol is a great DHT, but it has high toxicity levels. So if you are using Anadrol, which is an oral, you want to do in low doses, maybe 50 mgs, 5 to 7, once a day. I know guys have taken a lot more than that. But you don't want to be, on that for more than around 6 weeks.
Right. That's exactly.
So if you do a 12-week cycle, you take that for the first 6, then you switch off to give your receptor site something fresh.
Right.
Switch over to a different form of a DHT, and you could use that for the remainder of the 6 weeks. Plus, high levels of Anadrol could really destroy your appetite.
Yeah, I said that too.
Have a hard time eating when they're taking Anadrol. But if you are using those kind of compounds, I would definitely recommend, getting on an anti-estrogen or anti-aromatase, because that stuff will aromatize.
Yeah.
And then you bring your growth hormone into it, which I'm a big, believer in HGH, and I do think there are many beneficial rewards to taking growth hormone. You just got to find the right dose, depending on body weight. Overdoing it isn't going to do you much, good, except make you dose dependent.
Right.
But a couple IUs a day, you'll see good effects from taking GH. What's good about GH is it kind of keeps everything active in your body. It revitalizes, all of your cells and organs, and keeps things healthy and virile. And it does work well when you have higher testosterone levels. So those do work good in conjunction with each other.
In my experience, the side effects, Olympic with DECA, what was the other one that I had mentioned? Oh, the appetite with Anadrol. In my experience, it was dose related. If it was like 100 if I would take 100 milligrams of Anadrol, it would kill my appetite, or even D-bol, really, to be honest with you. So I would always keep it around 50. Don't get me wrong. There were times I would play and go back up to 100, but then the same thing would happen, and I would go back down to 50. DECA, I never went over 600 milligrams a week. It would always be 400 to 600 milligrams. So I never got the DECA dick. But is it? I don't want to say I think people react differently. So in most people it might be dose related, but in other people they just might be sensitive to it. What do you think?
You're right. I do believe it's all dose related, but I do know of guys that have taken minimal amounts and they still, get the effects from taking DECA. Anadrol, dude, the Anadrol was my favorite drug, back in my day, but I never did more than 50 mgs a day. But I used to experience great effects from Anadrol. And the funny thing is it would destroy my appetite, which I didn't have towards the end of my career. I didn't really have the best appetite anyway. But when you take Anadrol, dude, it's like, dude, you don't even have to eat when you're on that shit, dude. It's like,
what's funny is that
you're going to grow regardless.
What's funny is that people also, this is what I said too. You got to kind of play process of elimination, because some drugs affect some people great, and some drugs affect some people so. I never got great effects from Anadrol, and I've tried it. I've got good effects, but not great. Believe it or not, I always got better effects from D-bol. I always got rounder, stronger. But Anadrol, for some strange reason, I never really got this tremendous effect that everybody was talking about. Same thing with well, I know I used it plenty of different times. It wasn't like, yeah. And the same thing with EQ. People loved EQ. I must have used EQ, I don't know, a dozen times, and I got decent results.
What kind of doses would you do with EQ?
No more than 600 a week, between 4 and 600.
So where I came from, dude, 50 mgs 3 times a week of EQ. That's it. I hear these guys that are doing these high doses of EQ, and you don't need it.
Yeah, this was,
I don't get it, and again, it bonds to a testosterone receptor site.
Yeah, so I didn't know that until you told me that, to be honest with you, because
if you're already taking testosterone, there's only so much your receptor sites can hold. And the funny thing is, if you're not training your ass off, those receptor sites are not going to be open. Like, your receptor sites are inside the muscles. So the more you break those muscles down, the more the receptor sites are open. It can pull that in from the bloodstream. So it doesn't matter how much shit you're taking. If you're not fucking training hard, like, I heard the theories like, oh, dude, maybe you're not eating enough. Or maybe you're not eating enough if you're taking. Dude, it's not that.
Yeah.
Dude, it's anabolic. You're not. It prevents muscle waste, right? It prevents muscle breakdown.
You're just training like a pussy.
You're just training like a pussy. Exactly. You're eating fine, dude. You're eating fine. You can eat donuts like these guys talk about, and Rice Krispies. You can get away. Is that the best way to do it? Absolutely not.
Yeah, right.
But you can. But you fucking can. You're just training like a pussy, dude.
Yeah. No, and the truth of the matter is, the majority of people are just going through the motions in the gym. Very few people are really pushing themselves. And that was the training part of the video I did. I was like, you really have to push yourself past failure, right? See, all these concepts, you're able to go deeper into the concepts, but all the concepts are basic, but you're able to describe it eloquently and deeper. Where with me, I would just basically give you the basics. I'm not able to get into detail with the biology and the chemistry and so on and so forth. But those basic 4 elements, the food, the training, the supplements, and the PEDs, that was always the case. You always had to have those four things in working together.
Right.
Since I'm a kid. So all the things that, I say on my podcast that you come on and say, and so on and so forth, this is nothing new. And it seems like everybody either wants the fast way out or reinvent the wheel. And the worst part is when you see young guys that they just want to jump on the sauce immediately, and they haven't even, limited. They haven't even gotten to the capacity of muscle growth naturally,
So that's a term that I use all the time, and you just said it, is everybody's trying to recreate the wheel, and did I, because of my girls, being involved in athletics and the sports that they're in, I talk to some of the best trainers, not just in the area, dude, but in the fucking country,
Right.
And I talk to other friends of mine that know recruits, the top D1, Big 12, SEC fucking recruits that, that the know-alls, you know what I mean? Like, and stuff they look for and dude, and I've heard funny shit like this actually on social media. Everybody's trying to learn these trick plays in basketball and this and that, and nobody fucking cares. What it all, at the end of the day, what it all breaks down to is the basic fundamentals.
Right.
Can you do the fucking basics good? And it's the same thing in bodybuilding, dude. It's the basic fundamentals. And I think I heard, I don't know who it was. I know I heard this, but it's true. But somebody's reposting it lately. But it's the same thing we've done, dude. We eat the same fucking foods. We train the same fucking way.
Right.
We do the same basic, more or less, squats, deads, presses, dumbbells.
Not
rows, curl. Like it's all the same. Everybody's onto this new machine and this new angle and this new. Dude, who the fuck are you kidding? It's not going to make your life any easier, dude. If you're not doing this, if you're not putting in the hard work with the basics, you're going nowhere.
Yeah, absolutely. And I had basically I was preaching to push past failure. Things like forced reps or drop sets.
I think beyond failure, that's probably the term you're looking for.
Yeah.
But beyond failure training is something I did early in my career and continue to do almost until I retired.
Right.
That is where you stimulate growth.
Okay? Right.
To the point where you put your central nervous system in such disarray, the only way to respond is to grow, right?
Right.
And that type of training, like when you've evolved, and it's not even a matter of knowing what it is, okay? It's properly executing that type of training and knowing how often and when to do it, right? So I used to train with guys, dude, that you would think they're hardcore. You would talk to them and they tell you how hardcore they are until you put them through one of your workouts, and dude, I had guys, we do like beyond failure training and triple drop sets with forced reps. And I mean, I'm talking like, let's just say, I'll give you an example. You're doing, you're doing leg extensions, right? And you get to the point where, all right, now you're performing the extension, right? Weight's getting heavier and heavier and heavier. You can't quite squeeze it up all the way, but you fight to get that last rep. Go back down, start over, try again. Then you're getting to this point. Then you're getting to this point. You get to the point where you're only moving 25% of the range. And I mean, really trying. Right. Then you're going to do 2 forced reps with an assist, your spotter helping you, complete 2 full reps where he's helping you all the way up. Then he's letting go. And dude, there's nothing left in that negative. You are falling down with that weight.
Yeah. Right.
And then you pull the pin out, you drop it 35%, and you do it again. Same way till you can't move, 2 forced reps, drop it again 35%, do it again. That's beyond failure. Now, I had guys, okay, that I knew they weren't failing. Okay. They would fail mentally before they failed physically. Right. And that's a big problem because a lot of people, the pain gets to be too much where they can't deal with it. And they try to find a way out of it. Right. They try to find a way out of that working set. So, dude, they go from completing a rep to, all right, now they're down, dude, come on, your body doesn't fail that way. You didn't even make it to 3/4 of the way up already.
Yeah.
So, dude, I would pull the pin out, and then the weight stock's behind them. I would put it right back into the same spot. And now psychologically, they think it's 35% later. Dude, they're banging reps out. Dude, you didn't fucking fail.
Yeah, right.
Dude, you're quitting. Right. You're quitting.
Yeah, right.
I said, you're going to keep going. I'd make them keep fucking going.
Yeah.
Until I got out of them what I thought I needed to get out of them. Yeah. That's fucking training.
Yeah. The only thing is forced reps, you really got to have a good partner. So I never really had a good workout partner. So I would always do a lot of drop sets and supersets. A lot of drop sets. I would do a lot of drop sets, especially like shoulders. Anything where I always felt that I was lacking. So shoulders, back, biceps, things like that. I would do a lot of drop sets. I mean, I do a lot of straight sets too, but that was always like and another thing that I would do, and I still do it to this day, is if I decide I'm going to go heavy and I get to my heaviest set and it's too heavy and I only get 4 or 5 reps, I immediately do a drop set. Right. And then I might even do another one. Just to go past, because I'm like, I didn't work the muscle hard. I didn't just go good just to get past failure. I didn't work the muscle hard enough. But yeah, and the thing is, and here's the thing, there's a lot of shit that goes around social media, and it's not new to us, but it's new to the young guys. So like what's going around social media is now, well, if you train hard enough, you don't have to do cardio. Yeah, but you don't train hard enough.
What?
If you train hard enough,
I heard you.
You don't have to do cardio, in order to get in shape or so on and so forth, and I'm like, first of all, it depends on the person. Secondly, you don't train hard enough. The majority of people go through the motions and not training hard enough, and the majority of people, time is of essence.
It sounds like another excuse.
Yeah. That's what
follow this
because
it's easy. You don't have to do cardio.
Because it was in
shape. Dude, getting in shape, it's hard work.
Yeah. Right.
And dude, there's always that one person. There's always that person. Dude, my early stages of my career, I didn't do a lot of cardio.
Right.
But my fucking diet was perfect.
Right.
You know what I mean? Like, I didn't have to. Later on in my career, I did. I started incorporating it because it gave me more of a streamlined look. And, I was able to manipulate my prep better by incorporating that in instead of just relying on hopefully my body starts going this way now.
Mm-hmm.
Now I can add cardio and trigger that and help it go that way. But one thing I want to add, when you talk to training and going to failure, is that a lot of people have the misconception that going to failure or getting a forced rep is, you're bench pressing and you start to fail, and the person you're training with, your training partner, your spotter, assists you to help you complete the rep. Mm-hmm. That's not always the best approach. What people realize is you want to fail. It's not about completing the rep. So the purpose is to break the muscle down, not complete the set, right?
Okay.
So, you have a rep range in mind, but you never know how many reps you're going to perform. If you're training to hit 10 reps, you're training the wrong way.
Right,
you want to obviously have some volume in there and stimulate growth and break those cells down. And I do believe volume training is better for that purpose. But, you have a range of these reps of what you want to perform. But the main purpose is you keep fighting until you cannot complete with perfect form, complete the range. When you start failing with that range, you come back down and try again until you're only try to get to the same point you were before. If not, it's a little bit shorter. Your ranges keep getting shorter.
Right.
Until you can't even move that bar off your chest.
Right.
That's failure. Then you do a forced rep with somebody assisting you. 1 or 2 forced reps, and that's going to stimulate growth. That's where you get into that red zone, where you're really going to help stimulate, muscle hypertrophy.
Right.
That's the point you want to be.
Agreed. I want to stay on the anabolics for a little bit. If you don't mind me asking, you don't have to answer this if you don't want to. What was an off-season cycle for you in your prime?
Oh, I have no problem talking about any of that shit. Just like we talked about, I would do testosterone, Deca, and Anadrol with some GH.
What kind of amounts would you do?
At the height of my career, I would do probably 1,000 mgs of test a week.
Yeah.
Just of a straight test, whether I'd split it between 500 mgs of sustanon and 500 mgs of enanthate.
Mm-hmm.
Deco, same thing. Do 200 mgs 3 times a week,
right.
And Anadrol 50 mgs a day. I was stimulating all 3 testosterone receptor sites, and then I would switch. I did enjoy being on Anadrol, so like I said, most of the time that was my primary DHT that I would do in the off season.
Mm-hmm.
I wasn't a big believer in using Masteron, Primobolan, or Winstrol in the off seasons because I would like them to be primarily used as contest prep drugs. So my body responded different to them, and it would alter my look better. Proviron also, I would only use that for a competition.
Mm-hmm.
My testosterone sources for a competition were mostly just propionate when I got into my contest mode.
Mm-hmm.
Normally it was enanthate with sustanon or cypionate with sustanon. And I would switch. I would do trenbolone or parabolin in the off season. We had parabolin back then, so I would switch from Deca to parabolin, back to Deca, back to parabolin.
The parabolin were the crack offs, right?
Yeah, 76 milligrams per cc or cc and a half.
I remember.
Yeah, they were good, dude.
I remember. Yeah,
but they were effective.
I would do something similar, except that for some reason, I don't know why. I guess again, I think it's an individual thing. I always prefer Deca. I would always do testosterone, mostly sus. I always preferred sus. Sus, Deca, and D-bol, 50 milligrams of D-bol. And then, to be honest with you, it got to the point where money was an issue. So GH was like kind of my last thing, because we're talking when we were in my 20s, and and in my 30s, it was more about buying a house and getting married and blah blah blah.
I didn't do GH until my first national show.
Oh, gotcha.
So and that's how it was back then. You didn't take GH until you're at a higher level, And I did do EQ, and I would do D-bol also in the off season. But I would add that in just every once in a while. Like I would do that the first 4 to 6 weeks of my cycle, just to load up my receptor sites, and I would back off and just do the testosterone. Like if I was going to do a 10-week cycle, the first 5 weeks it would be testosterone, whatever my blend was, with a cc of EQ 3 times a week, or 25 megs of D-bol daily. That would be for the first 5 weeks, with the Deca and the Anadrol, and then I would drop the D-bol or the EQ and just do my straight test with my Anadrol and parabolin. So I would load up first and then back. So load up the first 5 weeks and then back off the second 5 weeks. And I would take off 3 weeks just to flush your receptor sites out. Then I would do it again. So it was 10 weeks on, 2 to 3 weeks off. 10 weeks on, 2 to 3 weeks off.
Yeah, I would, look.
But hold on. When I was off, I was off. There was no tea. There was no staying on this shit all fucking year round.
There's no cruising, right. Yeah.
Which is ridiculous from what I'm hearing for what people have been doing for the past 10 or something years. Like that's how you shut your system down.
Yeah.
And when I would come off, I would do high doses of HCG for 10 to 12 days with some Clomid to help kick my system back in.
Yeah.
Because even when I was doing all this shit, dude, I always had in mind, I want to have a family one day.
Right.
I want to do this smart. This is the best way to do it.
My recommendations were always pretty much the same, except that you're able to describe it more eloquently than I can. Right. Did you ever run into the person? This happened to me several times. Did you ever run into the person that wanted to use anabolics and was just so afraid but they were dying to, but they were afraid. And they were like, I don't want to inject myself. I just want to use a pill. I just want to swallow a pill.
Of course.
You know, and then I would tell them, I was like, dude, you know, you don't have to do it if you don't want to. Nobody's putting a gun to you.
Dude, I remember taking my first shot. You know, you're fucking terrified. You know what I mean?
Yeah, me too. Yeah.
By the end of my career, I was fucking performing surgeries on myself. You don't want to know the shit I've done to myself, dude.
Yeah, you fucking pro bodybuilders are all the same. Yeah, I've actually had a friend of mine from the gym, his young kid, and he wanted to do Anavar. And he said he bought some Anavar. I said, how much you doing? He goes, 10 milligrams a day. I said, well, why? Why? And then he would, I was like, dude, my girls take 20. Why would you?
The girls, 10 is a good dose for a girl, but I hear a girl's doing 20.
Yeah. So I was like,
you know,
and then I remember he would take it and then he would call me up, like kind of panicking. He's like, dude, I think I'm breaking out. I was like, from Anavar? He's like, yeah. I'm like, you're not breaking out from Anavar. You're not breaking out from Anavar. Then he would get panic attacks. I'm like, bro, just don't use it anymore. Like it's not even fucking helping you. Don't even bother. Why you know, what's
right?
Or is your smash? Is that, how can I say this? If you're a bigger dude, let's say, like, does Big Ramy take the same amounts as a Chris Bumstead?
No. Well, there's, you know what? I don't know. I really don't know. I would think no. But dude, I know guys that I hear of in local gyms that were taking the same doses that I were doing, and they didn't look anywhere near the way I looked.
Oh, that was me. That was me. That was 100%.
So should somebody like Chris Bumstead take as much as Ramy? No, but you never know. He could, right? Ramy could be one of these guys that responds very well, great genetics to anabolics and to training, and doesn't need much. So who am I to say, you know, this guy does this and this guy does, I don't know. What I can tell you is by the look of it, right? Chris Bumstead has not gone through years of abusive dosages where his organs look like they've grown, where he has that gut distension.
Yeah.
Where he has the thickening of his abdominal walls. And for most of the classic guys that are earlier in their career, none of them have that look. That's why the classic look is so appealing, where the bodybuilding
it's very pleasing.
Now, and dude, you could see it when all these top 5, top 10 guys walk on stage. It's a different fucking dinosaur look,
right?
Which, you know, which they're getting some aftermath from, you know, and they're getting some negativity from.
Yes,
that's why you know, Sean Ray. I heard a podcast he was on, and he spoke of, you know, if Chris Bumstead did the Open, it would give the judges, they just have nothing else to vote for. You know, everybody's afraid of a guy comes in looking like that, he won't place well. Well, I actually agree with Sean in the sense where if you give them something else to look at and something else to judge, it'll put these other guys in their fucking place. So
I don't normally disagree with you, but it's still a bodybuilding contest.
Dude, you're not going to tell me that you don't think Chris Bumstead would get judged properly because he doesn't look like a bodybuilder.
No. What I'm saying is
he looks like a bodybuilder. He's just in a different class.
Yeah, but in the Open, you think he would hold his own?
Of course.
Really?
Yeah, I do.
Because
if you think.
I mean, the Chris Bumstead of now winning classic.
So if you think that you have to look like a like a morphed mutant, right, for lack of a better term, to do well on a bodybuilding stage, you're wrong.
No. That's not what I'm saying.
This is why.
Yeah, obviously we see that. We see those guys with like Theo LaGuardia And we see guys like Stanimal, they do very well, and they have more of a classic look to them than they do open. But once you put them up against the big boys, they can't hold their own.
But there hasn't been a big boy. That's why Andrew Jack, there's all these hopes for Andrew Jack to do well because he still has that appealing look where his waist is small. He doesn't have that distension. He doesn't look square from the front or from the side. Mm-hmm. But if you put somebody up there, right, it could be like they talked about the Barry DeMay, you know, or the Gary Stridham of that class, you know, where you have more of a streamlined look, but equally as muscular, equally as appealing.
But you can make that argument with Samson, but he's still, you know, he has that appealing physique, but he's just as big as, you know, the Nick Walkers and the Hardy Chopins and so on and so forth.
Imagine if Samson comes back next year and feels like he's got to be 320 pounds to be effective. And I'll give you another example where I think a big, you know, a big mistake with the IFBB was when they converted the 202-pound class to the 212s. Mm-hmm. The 202s, dude, it was a prettier look. It looked like classic. They added 10 pounds to the same short guys, and all it did was make them look more square. Mm-hmm. The physiques were not any more appealing. Nobody really looked better. It was the same placings, you know, and you had guys like who I like Jose's physique better when he was lighter, and I think he'd argue the same thing. But later on in his career, he's carrying an extra 10 pounds of muscle on a 5'4" frame.
Right.
It's only going to look so good, dude.
No, I absolutely agree that there comes a point where if you push the weight too much, you're going to destroy the
well, dude, look at
the streamlined physique. But to say that Chris Bumstead, now the winner of the classic physique Olympia, could hold his own in a top lineup, I don't know. You know, maybe if he goes to Romania, Chicago, Japan, maybe he'll break the top 3 or top 5. Like I said, we've seen that with Theo Laguerria. But once you get to the upper echelon, you know, the guys, you know, Hunter, Nick, Hardy, Derek, Samson, I think he's going to get crushed. He just doesn't have the size.
Well, I'll give you another example. Put 5 more pounds on Derek, right? And look how different, not in a good way, his physique will look.
No, I agree. I agree. But I'm a fan of Nick Walker, but I like them better about 10 or 15 pounds leaner. Okay, but he's still a monster compared to.
I get it.
Bumstead. Bumstead, you know, if Bumstead really wants to be competitive in the Open, which I don't think he's ever going to do the Open. Personally, I think he's going to retire. That's my opinion. Because
I believe that too.
Yeah,
and I'm not saying Bumstead can't put an additional 5 or 10 pounds on.
Right, exactly. He's going to have to. Right, exactly.
But he doesn't need to be 300 pounds.
No, not at all. Right, obviously, and we've seen that. Like I said, we've obviously seen that. And I think he knows that too. But I don't think he would be able to, you know, break the top 6 or 7 in a lineup. I mean, even if you put him, dude. Now, like I said, maybe if you put him in like a weaker lineup, he might be able to hold his own. But in a really good lineup, I don't know. I'm sorry, man. That was like the first time I ever disagreed with you. Are you still my friend?
You can disagree, man. It doesn't mean I'm right. It's just my opinion.
Oh, okay, good.
Yeah, I don't have an ego, dude. It's just
you know what's funny is, and then I'll let you go. There was just one more thing that I wanted to say is when I did the Brooklyn Grand Prix. I mean, I did the Brooklyn Grand Prix, and I was doing 1,000 milligrams of testosterone, 600 milligrams of fucking Deca. You know, in my off season, I was doing like 100 milligrams of D-balls a day, right? 4 units of growth, and then I went to go because I was thinking about doing a national level show, and I went to go talk to a trainer in New Jersey, and he actually said to me, "I see you're very conservative with the stuff. We're gonna have to change that." And then he goes, "Did you ever think about using insulin?" and there was a lot of factors of me not wanting to compete anymore, mostly because I knew I just didn't have what it took, right? I just knew, right? But the other thing was, everybody knows the John Meadows story. When I saw him, I was like, I'm never going to be able to look like that. But I didn't want to do all that. Do you want to know who the trainer was? Want to know his name? Want to know who it is? Want to know who it is?
Jersey?
Yeah. Want to know who it is?
Regan?
No. Regan, no. He was partners with that guy. I forgot his name. He was partners with that guy, Glenn, the big dude with the glasses. He turned pro like later in life, like later as a Masters. I forgot his name. Man, he was partners with that dude, Glenn. What's his name?
Yeah.
I can't remember his name.
G-Force.
Yeah, before, but I think they're not G-Force anymore. They split up a while ago.
Yeah. Oh my God, dude, I'm friends with him. I can't.
He's married to the Spanish girl.
Yeah, he moved. He moved down to.
Yeah, it was him. He was like, yeah, you're really conservative, so you have to do a lot more because you suck. And I was like, man, maybe I don't want to do this anymore. He didn't say that. He didn't say that, but he did tell me that. Yeah. What the fuck is his name? Joe, Jared, Larry, Felix.
Hold on, I'll look him up.
Jose, Sally Ann, Sugar Tits. I can't remember his name.
Really?
What the fuck is his name? I still follow him on Facebook.
Yeah. Oh my God. Shit.
I can't remember his name. He was a nice dude. Don't get me wrong. He's a nice guy. I just can't remember his name.
Yeah, they parted ways.
Yeah, didn't Glenn go out to do some shows in Pennsylvania, something like that?
Yeah.
I don't know that was a while back. What the hell is his name?
I know. Oh my God, Darren, not Darren.
David.
No, it's Danny. Yeah, Dan. It's Dan.
Dan something. Oh wait, let me see now. Hold on. I know I have
Dan Horton.
What's his name?
Horton.
That's it. Yeah, him. Yeah, I remember I went to his house, and I went to go talk to two different people. I went to talk to him, and I went to talk to Oscar Arden. And I remember Oscar didn't care about the doses, but he wanted me to buy directly from him. And he's like, well, I swear to God. He goes, because he goes, well, I have to know, I trust my stuff and I have to know exactly how much is going into you, Oh, okay. Yeah. And then I was just like,
Danny's a good guy, dude.
He is. He really is a good dude. But yeah, he really was like, yeah, you're not taking enough stuff. And I was like, I think I'm taking a lot of shit. And it was that year. It was pretty much that year where I was like, I'm wasting my time. This is ridiculous. I do not have the genetics to turn pro. I'm going to put all this time, money, effort, and drugs into my body. And then what? To break the top 5 if I'm lucky in a national level show, if I'm lucky at a Masters national level show, no less, right? Because I was already 35 when I was thinking about doing it. So I'm like, this is I'm not doing this anymore. This is ridiculous. And then I just packed it in. And that was it. I always wanted to be like Jason Arntz, but unfortunately, I'm a lesser Jason Arntz with a microphone, son.
There you go. Well, you don't want to be like me. You're better than me.
Anyway. All right. I'm going to let you go, dude. I'm going to see, hopefully by next week we could put a crew together. Do you know anybody? I mean, we could.
Yeah, I would think the same people you did.
I know.
King or Jose or
Yeah. So Jose was on, what do you call it? What's his name's channel? Guy Sestino and Nick, they were on together.
Right.
So he might be like, I ain't going on that guy's channel anymore. He's too small for us. I need to go with the big boys.
Jose? Nah,
I know. He really wouldn't. He's actually a good dude. He don't give a shit. Neither does King. Neither does that. That's why I always ask him, because I know those guys will come on and they're good, solid dudes, and the guys you can depend on.
Yeah.
Not like,
and they have good opinions, good content,
Oh, and Samson Dowd is coming back.
Oh yeah,
I'd be talking to him. I would have him, but the thing is, he's in the UK, and it's like fucking 3:00 in the morning at this time in the UK. You know what I mean?
You doing it alone, or you doing it on ours?
Yeah, and I'm doing it alone because, like, in order to get him on 8:30 on a Wednesday, it's like I said, it's 3:00 in the morning in the UK. So I'll just.
What time are you doing?
I'll be doing it 4:00 my time, which I think is 9:00 his time.
What day?
Monday. This Monday.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Yeah, so I'll have him. I'll tell you, man, that guy, I interviewed him early on in his career, and he still, every time I ask him, he comes back, no problem. It does never fucking says no. And not that I ask him all the time, it's like the fourth time, but no problem. You got it. You got to understand where I'm coming from. Like I'm not a big shot bodybuilder. I was a nobody. I was a guy who decided to start so the people like that have a lot of clout and a lot of fame and so on and so forth. And they're like, yeah, no problem. It means a lot to me. Where there were guys in the past that shit on me. They're like, yeah, you fucking come on the show. Yeah. Anyway. All right, brother. I will let you go. Once again, thank you. All the love and respect in the world. Say hello to your wife for me. And after the holidays, we got to get together.
Yeah, do it soon. Yeah, actually, the soccer season has finally slowed down, not stopped, but slowed down.
Oh, all right, good.
Traveling at least, but yeah, we'll get together.
Yeah, in January we'll figure it out.
Come down and see the kitchen.
Yeah, definitely. We'll work it out. Maybe
we'll come up to you. My wife, she always wanted. She wants to get out, So we'll come up your way,
Oh, that's fine with me. Okay, you got it.
Yeah, we'll figure it out.
All right, brother. Have a good night.
Be safe.